Hi, Shareese.
Good evening, Rachel. How are you?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm well. Happy to talk about Hampton University. Proud of my blue and white.
Of course, as you should be. Actually, go ahead and tell me about Hampton and your time there.
Well, I obviously am a graduate of Hampton University, 1993. I'm sorry, 97, home of the Pirates. It's actually my 25th year graduating from college. I grew up in the suburbs and didn't really have a lot of people that look like me. And when I went to start looking for colleges, I really wanted that Black experience. I had a cousin who had graduated from Hampton University, and I'm not going to lie, there was a show, A Different World, that was the spinoff of The Cosby Show. It had a huge influence on my decision to go to an HBCU. And that's how I ended up at Hampton. It was the only school that I applied to. I did not have a plan B. I loved the experience. It was, when I got to Hampton, it was really my first taste of freedom. I'm from Maryland born. I was 4 hours away from home. And it was just comforting to see people that looked like me. And that was on the superficial, that was on just the surface side. But when you got to know people and see people from all over the nation, come from different backgrounds, but we all had that shared experience. It was a once in a lifetime opportunity that obviously I still talk about to this day.
That's awesome to hear that you always have kind of wanted to go to an HBCU. For me, it was more just let's try this out, trying to get a different experience. But what was your major at Hampton University? What did you graduate with?
My major was mass media arts with an emphasis in broadcast journalism. That major no longer exists at Hampton. Years ago, they formed a partnership, and now I believe it's the Scripps Howard School of Journalism and Communications. At the time, I wanted to be on-air talent. I was a co-anchor for Hampton University's broadcast station at the time. I had a cousin who was a broadcast journalist, and she was a big influence in my desire for that career. After college, I did pursue a number of internships and actually worked at a couple of television stations. And it was then that I kind of realized that I liked working more behind the scenes, and that sort of led me to my career today.
Okay, so that's good that you mentioned your internship. So with your internships, you did one at a TV station. So what was the internship that you did that paved the way into your career that you're in now?
So it's interesting. I worked at a television station. I interned at a television station, and while I was there, I was offered a job to work for a congressman. And at the time, it was a long commute to travel to DC every day, but we kept in touch. And when I actually went to work at a television station, this congressman was running for governor, and he asked if I would join his campaign to work as his deputy communications director. So that was one of my first jobs in politics. And I took a risk, I took a chance. I joined his campaign, even though he was a long shot, and he won as governor. And he was the first of two governors that I have been press secretary for. That's my current job right now. I'm press secretary to the governor of Maryland.
So how long have you been in that position again?
I've been in this position for 7 years. I work for a governor whose term will end in January. And that's the risk of working in politics. You have to reinvent yourself every so often. So anybody who's watching, I'm available.
What are some of your biggest professional achievements with that?
Well, working for two governors is a huge achievement for me. I love writing press releases. The governor that I work for largely acts as his own spokesperson, but in the first time that I worked for a governor, I had a lot of on-air opportunities responding to the media. I deal with the press every day. One of the things that is most important to me is just the relationships.
Mhm.
Relationships are the key to everything. If you can connect with people and form relationships, it can take you like very far in your career, and that's very important to me. So the reporters that I work with every day are some of the same reporters that I worked with years ago. So I just think that uh, keeping those connections, developing networking opportunities is just very important.
So do you feel like your degree kind of prepared you for, even though it was like totally different, do you still
Mhm.
feel like it prepared you for the career you're in now?
Absolutely. I tell a lot of the young people that I work with, I think that writing and being
Essential.
able to communicate is essential. It's the foundation of any job that you have. I mean, starting with your resume. I mean, when you look at a resume, you want to see that it's well composed, that it's well articulated. So I think that the mass media arts, even though I did not ultimately pursue broadcast journalism, I think having that strong foundation in mass media arts at an HBCU sort of paved the way for my future career.
That's awesome. So let's go ahead and backtrack a little bit. I kind of want to hear more about the best memories that you had at Hampton University, because I go to NSU and it's obviously just across the bridge. So I just want to hear more about your experience and your memories that you created at Hampton University.
Well, I mean, just hanging out on the waterfront. I mean, I mean, you can't beat the weather in Virginia during the summer. Hanging out in the waterfront. Actually, I didn't know it at the time, but actually, my time at Hampton had a significant impact on my personal life as well. I met my best friend in the cafeteria line
Aw.
at Hampton. We're still best friends to this day. She's not only my best friend, but she's also my sister-in-law now. I married her oldest brother. So I've little did I know, little did I know that
What
my
a
time,
story there.
little did I know that my time at Hampton would lead to meeting my future husband. But yeah, I have two daughters. I have a 6-year-old and 9-year-old. My husband is a graduate of Virginia Tech, and we constantly battle because I tell him that I will strongly encourage our girls, even if it's not Hampton, to attend an HBCU. So we're going to have that battle in the next few years. But
That's awesome. So before we go, I would love to hear any advice that you'd like to give any student who wants to pursue a similar path that you're pursuing, or just anyone in general that you want to have some advice to.
well, I would tell someone to take a risk, develop mentors, pursue intern opportunities, just pursue your passion, but don't close yourself off to other opportunities. You never know where it might lead. And I would just encourage young people to explore HBCUs. It was a once in a lifetime experience for me. It offered a level of student experience, security,
Right.
preparedness that I didn't know was available at the time. And I really think that, like, for my class, say for instance, I'm the class of 1997, we all still support each other. I belong to an alumni page that we still support each other, not only those in our class, but we have a responsibility to sort of reach back and help others who want to pursue that same opportunity.
All right, gotcha. That's so awesome. Thank you so much for your time. It's been a blessing to be able to talk to you and get some insight on what's going on across the water. But thank you for your time so much, Shareese.
Rock the blue and white.
Behold.